On January 19th, 2019, Greg Hardy had his UFC debut against Alan Crowder at UFC on ESPN 1 Plus or ESPN Plus 1. This was in Brooklyn. Interesting fight for him because obviously he had a couple fights in amateur that he had won by early knockout, had 3 pro fights, all were finished by early knockout. And there seemed to be some interest in him as a possible guy who, in the heavyweight division, which isn't a very strong division, he could potentially grow into a prospect. So what I wanted to see in this fight is if Crowder could actually make this fight last a little longer than a minute. What would we see from Hardy from a technical standpoint? Is there any reason to believe that he's actually improved a lot over the last couple of years? What's a reasonable expectation for 2 years of training? And do we think that Hardy's on the right path, or if he hasn't been taking this as seriously as he needs to, and he's been getting off on having great physical attributes for the weight class, being very strong, being very big, being very quick? So unfortunately, I actually filmed a video on this a day ago, put it up on my channel, and had it taken down by a copyright strike from the UFC. So I'm not going to be able to show any video highlights of this. I did take a bunch of screenshots, so you'll have to kind of bear with me on that. So we'll start off at the beginning of the fight. So what's important to note here with Greg Hardy, the things that I want to focus on is where is his striking at and where's his grappling at, what are the fundamentals and where is he with those? So for a guy who's been training for about 2 years, jiu-jitsu, it's a little bit easier to gauge just because they have a belt system there. So for jiu-jitsu, usually about 2 years in, especially if you've been training hard, you've generally got your blue belt by that point. So the expectation for Greg Hardy would be that his grappling is at a blue belt equivalent level. He doesn't have to be training in the gi, but even if he's training no gi, you would figure that a lot of the fundamentals would be fairly similar, and he would kind of show a lot of blue belt level fundamentals. On the feet, you'd expect him to be able to do simple things like keep his hands up, have decent, or at least know to move his head, be able to string a couple punches together. And what I saw early in this fight is that he really wasn't stringing very many punches together. A lot of his striking just comes off of throwing a single shot. And when he throws that shot, he really lunges his head in, doesn't move it a whole lot. The hand that's throwing obviously is reaching out for the head, but the hand that's down, or the other hand, isn't up blocking. It's usually down. So here's a screenshot of him throwing across, and you can see that lead hand is down right here, while the other hand's up, head's leaning forward, coming in. And what this is going to cost him, or this is where this is going to cost him against some of the better strikers, is if they can time that first punch coming in, if they can slip out of the way and then throw. By him moving his head in, not only is there the momentum moving forward because he's punching forward, but because he's launching his head in as well, it's going to really increase the impact on a shot that's going to land him on a counter. And Crowder was attempting to do this later on in the fight where he was trying to use some head movement and to bait Hardy to throw the first punch, miss that punch, and then catch him coming in. Crowder is more of a grappler than he is a striker, and some of the better heavyweight strikers are really going to torch Greg Hardy if he doesn't improve in this area. So we're going to get some more from here. So again, here's a jab. You can kind of tell that he's pushing pretty hard off of his back leg back here. But again, leaning forward, got that lead hand out, other hand down, not protecting the chin at all. So again, for the higher level strikers, they're going to see this coming. They're going to avoid the first shot, slip out of the way, and then catch him coming in. And it's really going to lead him to getting caught with some heavy shots. As far as the grappling is concerned, where Crowder was able to take him down in the first round, it was actually off of a knee that Hardy had landed from a clinch position. When he stuck the knee in there, he didn't pull it back very quickly, so Crowder gained control of it. And then from there, rode that single leg all the way up to the fence before he was able to trip and turn to get the takedown. And as I mentioned before, what you would expect out of Greg Hardy is blue belt level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at this point. And I didn't see anything to believe that he's at that level or even close. So once he gets taken down to the mat, you can see that his legs, let me see if this shows. So you can see his legs here, wide open. He's not really cutting angles. He's not looking to attack. Not really even striking off of his back much. He did throw a couple elbows, but nothing of great significance. And from a grappling standpoint, he wasn't ever attempting a submission or a sweep, let alone getting close to one. So again, here, this is an over-the-top angle. So again, legs are wide open. He's not attacking at all, just kind of staying there, waiting. The only good thing you can really say about him here is that he's not panicking. He's kind of relaxed, but at the same point, when you're on your back in an MMA fight, you either have to be working to get back up or working to attack, either with a sweep or a submission, and he's not doing either of those. Now here he has a chance to get up, but again, because his legs are wide open, Crowder is going to use that to try to pass over to a half guard. Being against the fence, that's kind of a risky position if you start passing too much because they can use the fence to get back up. So you kind of have to be careful in how you control there. And here there's actually a real good opportunity for Hardy to get up. He's up against the fence. Crowder has decent wrestling, but it's more his top game Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that's really gotten him to where he's at in his career. So good opportunity for Hardy to get up, a guy who's not the most technical wrestler and a guy who's not as strong as him. But unfortunately, doesn't really do a whole lot technically and ends up getting taken right back down. And again, here we are again with a wide open guard. This time in half guard, he's not closing it. He's not using this left arm of his to get an underhook to try to come upon a single or use that to create space. He's just simply laying down on his back pretty much, not doing anything. So Crowder, noticing that, is going to easily pass into side control. But again, Hardy not doing a whole lot. For Crowder, his main concern is that Hardy, being a big, strong guy, could explode at any moment and try to use that to get up. Not really all that technical, but being able to use his physical attributes. But you really didn't see a whole lot of that out of Hardy. And he even gets caught in a crucifix here because he's just kind of laying there, not doing a whole lot. Now, luckily for Hardy, he was next to the fence. He was able to kick off the fence and create a bit of a scramble. He didn't get away right away. They were still connected together, but eventually Crowder kind of had what was sort of like a front headlock position, and Hardy was able to stand up from there and get him away, push him away, and create some space. So from what I'm seeing, the striking very basic, hands down, leading with his chin, very little head movement, not throwing many combinations. Not impressed with that. The grappling pretty much was non-existent in this fight. So for a guy who's been training for 2 years, I understand that he's been trying to play a little bit of football too, but for the technique to be that lacking in this fight, and this isn't his pro debut, this isn't the first time that he's had to perform under the big lights. Obviously, he was an NFL Pro Bowler. It tells me that he really hasn't been evolving as much as you would hope that a guy with his upside would be by now. So I don't think that there's any reason to see him as a potential contender in any time or in the near future. Him losing this fight doesn't help with that anyway. So at this point, I made some money on this fight with Crowder being a 4-1 underdog, betting some money on Crowder. I didn't expect him to win by a DQ, but I'll take it as it is. But if you guys keep seeing Greg Hardy fighting in the UFC from now on and he keeps getting lines as a favorite, you could definitely make some money in the meantime betting against Greg Hardy, because though he has great attributes, though he's very strong, though he hits hard, there are a lot of technical holes in his game, and it doesn't seem like they're really going to be fixed anytime soon if the last 2 years has been an indication. So I want to know what you guys' take is on Greg Hardy. Do you guys think that he has potential to actually make his way up that top, make his way up to the top of the division? Obviously, heavyweight's not the strongest division, with Derek Lewis being a guy who's ranked number 2. Though Derek Lewis is a decent boxer, he's not, his skill set isn't exactly one that you would imagine someone would have at the top of a division in the UFC. So there is an opening at heavyweight, but do you guys think that Greg Hardy, despite having no ground game and despite having a very limited striking game, is it going to be able to work his way into the rankings? Do you think he's already reached the ceiling? Let me know. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you don't, you can also hit the downvote button. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe.